Hello, Advanced Accounting. We are venturing into the last section of Chapter 13. We are in 13.4, Payroll, Withholding, and Payroll Taxes. And this is where we're actually going to pay our taxes. So let's get into that, take a quick look, and then we'll get to the work together and on your own. So we're going to be journalizing the taxes, paying the taxes. We got to do all kinds of things with taxes. So the way this works is that, employers have to pay these federal and state and local governments all the payroll taxes that were withheld from their employees' earnings. And the payment of the payroll taxes to the government is referred to as a deposit. That's one of your vocabulary words. So we're depositing the money to the government. It says two amounts determine how often the deposits are made. So there's a look back period. And there's lots of rules in terms of when companies have to pay taxes. And I'll sum it up. This is a pretty, elaborate chart here, but I'll sum it up. The more money that's owed to the government, the sooner the government wants the money. Okay, so if you read this little flow chart, it says, are the total taxes for the prior quarter less than $2,500 and all of the current quarter tax liabilities within a deposit period is less than $100,000. If yes, it says deposit taxes by the end of the month. If it says no, you go this way. Have you accumulated a tax liability of $100,000 or more? If it's yes, they want the money by the next banking day. You got to deposit that money. So you can see that there's a flow chart here as to when the tax money has to go to the government. Then tax deposits. Usually we use an electronic funds payment system, so that money gets wired to the government, makes things a little faster. It says a business may choose to have a tax professional, financial institution, or other third party deposit the taxes electronically. It says 3 Green prepares a check to its bank for the amount of December tax, and the bank uses the electronic funds transfer to pay on behalf of 3 Green. So for me, I pay taxes. Now this is income tax. I'm not talking payroll taxes because I don't have employees. But because of my 31 business, I have more income, which means I owe more tax dollars to the government. And because I owe that tax money, they don't want me holding on to it when it's really their money. So I have to pay quarterly payments for taxes. And I actually just write a check. So my tax accountant prepared for me a little tax coupon with all the tax information. I tear off the slip, I write the check. And so every 3 months, I'm sending my tax money to the government because one year I owed so much in tax liability that I had to pay a fine, a $150 fine. And I didn't realize how well I was doing in 31. And in 31, I'm considered self-employed. So I'm the employer and the employee. Just like we've learned in this chapter, Social Security and Medicare are matched taxes. So there was some heavy tax there that I owed the government. And after that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to start doing quarterly taxes. So there's even rules for income tax. Obviously, in this chapter, we're talking about payroll taxes. These are the taxes the employer pays on behalf of the employees. And just remember, tax rules change periodically. That's why I use an accountant. I pay him about $150. I mean, I prepare all the documents and all of my expenses, and I send it over to him. And then he's responsible for knowing all the tax rules because they change frequently. And that's a little too much while being a full-time teacher and a mom to handle on my own. So we've got to pay these taxes. And so we're in the cash payments journal in this section. We're paying the federal tax. Remember, employee income tax payable is the same as federal tax. We're paying SOCH, we're paying Med. Those are debits now to the liabilities, the payables, because we're paying it. It's no longer a liability. We're paying it off. So we're decreasing the liability here in the debit column, and the cash credit is the total of all 3 debits. So we're sending over to the government $3,494.20. If you like to see it in T account format, it's here. It also shows previous tax payments. So that's what we're going to be working on in this section is actually paying the tax liability. This is also showing we've got to pay the federal unemployment tax and also the state unemployment tax. So you'll see that as well as a debit. we're debiting what we owe for federal unemployment tax because we're paying it and these just match 29702, 29702. It's recorded as a separate line item in the cash payments journal. Okay. And then, of course, we're moving into the state unemployment tax that we're paying. So we owed $147.42. That's a debit to the liability. We're no longer liable because we're paying it and we're giving them the money. Okay. So that's what this whole section is. So let's take a look at the work together. 13-4. It's pretty easy. It's a short one for you. You'll be happy about that. And then we can move into the end of review for this chapter. Take me just a second to open this. And we'll find 13 and we'll find 13-4. Willy Wonka. Here it is. Expand that for you. And I'm going to pull that show answer button here so it's a little easier as we move along. So we've got federal income tax, 1320. We've got, now be careful. This is what we have to be so careful about. Employee, that's only saying it in terms of one person. So we have to double this number. We have to double the 1331.76 because remember, the employee and the employer matches that tax to get to the government. Same with Medicare. It just says employee, so we have to double the 311.46. And it says using the payroll data for March 31, prepare a journal entry for payment for the withheld taxes. Tesla Electric is a monthly scheduled depositor. It's check number 495. Taxes are due to the federal government. Using the date the taxes are due to the federal government. It says use the tax account credit balances to prepare journal entries for payment of FUTA and SUTA. So that's federal unemployment tax and state unemployment tax. Assume both checks were prepared on the due date for the federal tax deposit. So this is payroll data for March 31, but it's due by the 15th of the next month. Okay, so this is giving you information up here too that you need. This is going to be where our federal and state unemployment tax information is housed. But notice it says payroll was for March 31st. So these taxes are due by the 15th of the next month. So that's why this date is April 15. You are just copying this data for federal income tax because it's ready to go, 1320. So go ahead and type April 15th. You're going to debit employee income tax payable. The check is $495. You're debiting $1320. Don't do anything here yet. The next tax is Social Security, but you cannot copy this number. You actually have to take 1331.76 and multiply it by 2 for the employer's portion as well. So 2663.52. There it is, 2663.52. Your Social Security tax payable needs to be doubled. Same with Medicare. When you see the Medicare number up above, you have to double it. So here it says 311.46. So we're taking 311.46 and we're multiplying it by 2. 622.92. There it is, 622.92. Now that you have your 3 debits, you are going to add all those together for one cash credit. You're losing the cash. This is going to the government. You are now no longer liable because you're paying the taxes. That's why we debited the liabilities. Now, the unemployment taxes are just due the end of the following month. That's why this is the 30th for these dates. So unemployment tax payable - federal is what you'll type next. It's check 522 for 515.52. And so the cash credit just matches because that's just a single line item. Remember, that information comes from this tab. It says unemployment tax payable federal right there. And here's the check numbers in the story problem. So there it is, 515.52. Your unemployment tax payable dash state, check 523, is for 1159.92. 1159.92. Again, that's in that tab up above. And that, my friends, is it. And you can test out your skill in the On Your Own. Okay? Leave that up there for just a couple more seconds. Hopefully my pace is good, so you could copy this in. The green form is the same exact thing below here. It's just the key. Okay? So have a great day. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm here for you. Bye.